Last night, within the last 24 hours or so, Trump signed another executive order essentially banning refugees and green card holders from certain Islamic countries. And to an extent, I understand why he's doing it, but it's one, illegal, two, immoral, and it's just not something we should be doing. I get that we need to have a skepticism of certain people from certain areas where there's a lot of terrorist activity, but to completely ban all of those, everybody from those countries, no. And it's really entertaining because he has a bias towards those who he has business deals with, like Saudi Arabia and whatnot. So there's definitely a conflict of interest with what he's doing, but at the same time, just because an area has terrorism doesn't necessarily mean everybody in that area is a terrorist or is going to be connected to terrorist links. Like, if they do come into the country, should we investigate a little further before we completely let them in? Maybe. Or, if once they do get let in, keep them on a watch list for a certain period of time? Definitely. But, to an extent, even that's going too far. Like, a lot of people in Syria, like, those in ISIS are attacking Syrians more than they're attacking anything else. Like, Syrians are escaping because their lives are at risk, not because they want to come and destroy America. It's ridiculous. Like, I definitely am not the commonplace viewpoint at the moment. Like, yes, and I got this off of looking on Facebook with the hashtag no ban, no wall, which is another thing. The wall is stupid. It's going to cost minimum $25 billion just to build. Not to mention labor, not to mention keeping it up. And a solid point too is most people who come here illegally are here on expired visas. They're not here jumping through, and it's like that used to be the way, and it's extremely difficult to get here through the means of a coyote. And what a coyote is like, it's essentially a hired hand to smuggle them across the border in a truck or something. Read an interesting book on that a while back. But it's Trump is alienating all those, is essentially burning bridges that don't need to be burned. And he's starting to light the match right now. He's starting to put kerosene on the bridge. It's ridiculous. We're in a time period where there's a lot of conflict, there's a lot of tension. And by doing this ban, by building this wall, that's not helping anything. That $25 billion wall is not going to limit the drug cartels. The ban on Muslims coming into this country is not going to stop anything. It's not. If anything, it's going to heighten terrorist activity because they realize that this ban means that the Trump administration is afraid of them. And and that's what a terrorist is doing. They're wanting to make people afraid. And yes, this is a very liberal viewpoint. But at the same time, we do need to have, like I said earlier, if we do accept refugees, keep them on watch lists or something for a certain time period. Like, sure, they may not be needed to be on that watch list, but it's just a safety concern. But we don't need to ban them. It's like, yes, a lot of terrorists in this country do have Islamic ties, but there's extreme Islamism, and then there's your everyday ones that don't give two shits about the goings on and are perfectly fine with being here in America. This is only going to increase discrimination against those, especially those who are openly Islamic, especially those who are openly Muslim. Like, and I don't agree with this. I completely do not agree with this. We're in a time period where it's starting to reflect the civil rights movement. It is starting to reflect the World War II era, in a sense of the Japanese internment camps and the ban on, I forgot exactly what it was called, but almost all of Asia for a time period was banned on immigration until Lyndon B. Johnson signed an act. I'll put the act here so you can read it, but essentially saying it was immoral, and he wanted to abolish that because America's a melting pot. We're a melting pot of culture, and again, with those who say cultural appropriation is bad, without cultural appropriation, we wouldn't have America. Just saying. Without interacting in different cultures, we wouldn't have what we have today. We wouldn't have everything. So by denying certain people access to this melting pot, you are going against everything America stands for. It's just ridiculous. We don't need to be doing this. We need to try and accept those. We need to try and accept refugees. Like, I don't think we need to accept all of them. It's very interesting. I do think we need to focus on a lot of problems we have in America before we start focusing on other people. But at the same time, if all this effort is going to go into building a wall, that $25 billion, use that $25 billion to fix the infrastructure. Use that $25 billion to give homes to homeless vets and everyone else. Help the infrastructure with that $25 billion. Don't alienate those who don't need to be alienated. I don't think anyone truthfully needs to be alienated unless they are a true given harm to this country. Refugees have proven not to be. And it's entertaining too because a lot of people who have committed terrorist acts are registered citizens of the United States. Terrorism isn't always from abroad. There are plenty of domestic terrorists that we need to focus on. Like the Boston bomber, he was a citizen of the United States. The guy, I don't know his name, but the guy who attacked the Planned Parenthood in Colorado Springs, citizen of the United States, not Islamic. Just because you're Muslim doesn't mean you're a terrorist. Doesn't mean you have radical viewpoints. Yes, there's Sharia law. I don't agree with Sharia law. A lot of Muslims don't agree with Sharia law. And a lot of people are like, but they believe in, especially like some of your more extreme viewpoints on the opposite side of the thing, are like, Islam is bad. Just look at the Quran. Just look at the Bible. There's extreme viewpoints in both sides. We literally live in a pick and choose world where we pick certain things that aren't sins and we pick certain things that are. It's not a given. It's not. We have to adjust to the time period. Yes, there are those that don't adjust to the time period, but that is their given culture. That is their given culture. And if they come here, they don't necessarily need to give up all of their culture, but they need to accept certain aspects of a new culture in order to live here. And that's what a lot of them are doing. And yes, there are those that want Sharia law in America. I don't agree with that. But that's not a majority. That's a very small minority of those immigrants who come to America. And it's also entertaining because even the Pope said something on this. He said, I don't know if Trump's Christian, I don't know if he's Catholic, I don't even know if he's religious. But the Pope said that it's basically un-Christian to deny those of another religion. And this was the best Pope that we have had in a long time. He is the most progressive. He is the most accepting of others. He doesn't agree that Catholicism, Christianity, whatever, needs to be the all-powerful, all-covering religion that a lot of others do. He accepts others as they are, and isn't that what Jesus taught? To accept others as they are, and if they want to convert, they can convert. If they don't, they don't. It's whatever. And so this is going to be a very interesting 4 years because it's already been an interesting week. A little over a week. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This is going to be a prime period for me to be making political videos. I'm not going to try and make that the majority on my channel, but it is going to have, from the looks of it, at least 1 to 2 a week of political content. Alright guys, but if you want to see more political videos, click there. If you want to watch a funny video, click there. Hopefully it's not political. And subscribe here. And I hope you guys have a great day. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Try and be civil. Try and avoid name calling. And try and not be racist. Alright? Thank you guys so much. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye!